Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Global Breakout Podcast, episode 4 here. That's great. So first of all, I am Barendipitous, of course, the Brawlhalla Lore Master, CEO of Global Breakout, and one of the hosts for this podcast. And also, you can see down in the corner, this shadowy figure down there is Supreme. Supreme, briefly introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Supreme Sama. I'm the head of content and personnel for GB and technically certified canon Brawlhalla Drip Lord.
Certified canon. Were you
Certified
recognized?
canon
You were
from Foda
recognized as
from Foda himself.
Okay, yeah, it's on.
In canon.
That's
It's in the
awesome.
canon lore.
And then we also have our guest here, Vondakay. Vondakay, want to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. What's up? I make very nerdy and cringe YouTube videos about Brawlhalla for people who are interested in esports for the game and just love, I don't know. I make Kung Fu Panda references in reference to the players doing well in tournament, and it's super nerdy but it's fun. I've been doing it for a year now. So,
Hey, you are Vondakay. You are sitting among real nerds here. Okay,
real
so
nerds.
obviously I am a huge nerd as a librarian, as a nerd of lore man. I play Dungeons and Dragons, all that kind of stuff. Um, Supreme is cooler. He's got drip. But
Canon.
Um,
It's canon. Like,
he's been
I'm gonna
recognized
get
by
into
Blue Mammoth Games to have Brawlhalla drip. So,
the head
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
We're very happy to have all of you here. Just like before, I have some notes of talking points of things. If we run out of things to talk about for the next hour and a half, I have talking points here to help us out. But we're just kind of gonna chat and especially just hang out with Vondakay. I do want to say, Vondakay, and I think I told you when I told you a little bit of this when I met with you at BCX 2022 in person. But I love your videos a lot. I love the approach that you take because you're essentially, I like to think of it as you're essentially this is Brawlhalla esports lore that you're making
Yeah.
videos about essentially. Usually when I say lore, I talk about fictional characters and stuff like that, right? But lore also refers to other things like folklore, Paul Bunyan, Pecos Bill type stuff. That's lore, Americana folklore. You like the lore, the backstory, the history, if you will, of Brawlhalla esports. Vondakay, you've made a lot of very great and accessible videos about that as well. So, and I really appreciate that because goodness knows I couldn't do that because I'm not as well versed in esports as you and many
Oh,
of the people in the community are.
You're being way too nice. You're being too nice. My own comment section likes to hate on me, so I'll let you know. Yeah. As for lore, I think the main approach right now is just to make it so Brawlhalla esports is awesome and I love it. And I watched
Yeah.
it. It got me through a lot of college. That's how it started, right?
Yeah.
And the
That's cool.
thing is that no one fighting games are already kind of small.
Yeah.
Melee is probably the biggest one.
Hmm.
And Brawlhalla is already kind of small, and Brawlhalla esports is even smaller. So conveying that over to other people is really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how can I share this with others? Just shed light on something I care about. So
Yeah.
the most recent approach has definitely been pretending I don't know anything, or just being learning with the viewer
Mm.
and progressing through the video towards the end. Kind of like you do with lore. You start out with your characters, and you're they have some great challenge, and they need a way to solve it, and you're figuring it out with them.
There
Um,
is a narrative to it. That's another reason why I sometimes
mhm.
use lore when talking about esports because sometimes even casters talk about the narrative of a player. There are narratives in tournaments and throughout a whole esports season as well, various rivalries and things like that as well. So I love that approach that you're learning along with the viewer. I know you mentioned your comment section, hating on you sometimes. Well, first of all, whose comment
They're the
section
best.
doesn't? Whose comment section does not hate on them? To be fair, uh,
No, my best haters, my very first video where they're just man, this sucks. My very dedicated people are also the
Crazy.
ones that are like they're like surprisingly the nicest to me in Discord. Like I have like one guy on Twitter that's pretty popular, Oofers, pretty controversial little dude.
Mm.
He will message me after I post a video and he's like, that just wasted 20 minutes of my life. And he's like, here's how you can make it better. And then he told me just like over and over, he's like, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And it helps. Like, I don't want to hear it, but it helps.
I mean,
And
you know,
then-
there is something to be said for constructive criticism. That's probably not how I would approach constructive criticism, but clearly it's working for you. Like you're taking it to heart, which I definitely admire. So
Yeah.
that's
And
really
then
good.
I spread to like the other parts of the Brawlhalla kind of world, or just like the esports-ish world, because I would get DMs from pro players like saying, "Why are you lying?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I watched your video and you just blatantly lie. I'm like, "What? I never thought you guys were gonna see this." So I went to Twitter, and then that's how I found you guys. And like, I see Supreme Psalm everywhere. I see Baron obviously everywhere. So I'm at BCX, and I'm
Yeah.
like kind of foreign to it all. So I was wondering how you guys got like. I don't know. I know how I got started.
Well, actually, let's talk a little bit about how you got started for a second. You said that you love esports, and that's very evident in your videos and your content, and your participation in the community.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Supreme are happy to talk about like how we got into this as well and stuff. But especially
I'm
since
curious.
you're our guest and everything, I'd like to know, especially since you're probably a bit newer in the community. I'm sure a lot of people
Mhm.
would like to
Super
kind of understand more about your journey of how you got into Brawlhalla esports and getting into content in general.
Okay, so people are gonna hate me, but when I first started making Brawlhalla videos, I had not played Brawlhalla in 2 years. I
So
only
you
played
started a
friendly-
while ago, and then
Yeah,
okay.
I started a year ago in the winter. I started when Winter 2022 Championship was happening.
Oh,
In that
okay.
time period, I had not played Brawl in 2 years. I only played friendly twos with like one friend of mine, and then the way I got started with YouTube was I was in a pretty bad place mentally, and I was looking up online like what to do if you're not happy. They're like, work out. I said okay. So I was on the way to the gym, and I was like, I don't want to go to the gym, dude. This sucks so much.
I'm
I
with
thought
you there,
about- I was like-
man.
I was like, what if I launch Brawlhalla and go play some Kaya? And then I was like, wait, what about instead of playing Brawlhalla, what if I make a video about Brawlhalla? So I launched up like YouTube and looked up Brawlhalla esports, and there's just like the VOD reviews, and I was like, I need someone to talk about this. There's no one talking about it. I was like, okay. I went to the Twitch stream, and that was the Winter Championship, and I was like, I would love if someone would talk about this. So I downloaded Audacity, I downloaded OBS, I hit record on both at the same time, and live reacted to everything I could to do. And I would open Twitter and look at things, and I tried to just think of whatever would be as funny as possible to say. And I'd been doing
Nice.
YouTube for 8 years at this point, like since I was a kid in middle school,
Wow.
uploading videos. Never more than 50 views on a single video. This Brawlhalla video got 300 views in like 2 weeks, and I was losing
Crazy.
my mind. I know,
Yeah.
crazy
Paid
looking at, crazy looking at what 300 views to me now would be like. What did I do wrong? You know?
Right. Yeah. But certainly those are large numbers from where you were at the time.
Yeah.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I did the first video, and then I was like, this did really well. And people liked when I talked about Luna, because he was kind of like a villain at that time. So I did another
Yeah.
video just like,
A bit
Calling
of
him
a
out
heel.
for-
Yeah.
yeah, I called him out for like Twitter drama with Costelix. And at this time, I did not know who Costelix really
Oh man.
was
Yeah.
in the kind of scene. And then Costelix DM'd me immediately after. He's like, loved the video. And I was like, dude, I just like completely dumped on you for 10 minutes. Why would you ever like the video? And he's like, get in a Discord call with me right now. We'll talk about marketing. You can be a YouTuber.
Kozlix
He's like,
is
yeah.
Kozlix is all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But at the time, he had sent me this DM on Discord. I was on a date with this girl, and it was not going well. Like, this girl did not like me at all.
Oh man.
And there was a time we were sitting in the car, and I was reading the DM, and I was like, I couldn't believe that, like, Costelix was DMing me, which sounds like glazing, I know. But, like, I just could not believe I was getting a DM from a pro player. And then she was like, what are you looking at? And I was like, I could go home right now and hop on Discord with this esports player. She's like, who cares? And I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? I care. And I was like,
Yeah.
I dropped her off home. I went back. I got on Discord. He's like, let's talk thumbnails. And we talked thumbnails. We talked YouTube for like 3 hours. And then
Oh,
and then
man.
from there on, I kept making videos, just trying to find my style, my way that I enjoy making it.
That's awesome.
King energy.
Yeah.
True.
And
king energy.
she broke up with me like a week after, but it was worth. For
Hey,
sure.
hey, if she can't appreciate your hobbies, that's a warning sign. But
I
yeah.
never knew what any of her hobbies were. I swear.
Oh wow. I mean,
I
anyway,
I don't know.
uh, that's awesome.
It
Wow.
wasn't
So
Brawlhalla, so
it wasn't Brawlhalla. It wasn't esports clearly. Uh, so that's awesome. That's really cool that catching Conflict's attention. And honestly, Conflict is probably one of the best people to talk to about if you want to like elevate your content and things like
if I
that.
had stayed paying attention to what was going on in Brawl, and I knew like people don't like Costelix. Like a lot of people don't like
I
Costelix.
yeah, conflicts. I mean, even conflicts and I have had like disagreements, and I don't want to say arguments. We never had like drama, but like we've mutually disagreed on something and respectfully like, all right, fair enough. Um,
Yeah.
but
So
like
like
he's strong in his views, and that's yeah.
yeah, so I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about the. So when we got on call, he was like, "It's really refreshing talking to you." And I was like, "Yeah, because I have no clue who you are, dude."
Yep,
And
yep.
I didn't treat him any differently. And when he would say something that's just outlandish, I was like, "That's not right." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "You can't say that. That is mean," or something like that. And then
Yeah.
I felt like I grounded him, and he had experience. So like he had this great mind and experience in his own like. He describes it as like he can't stop himself. I'm like, dude, shut up. Let's do the thing we're doing here.
Yep.
And we worked great as like a team because we're
Yeah.
such polar opposites. I mean, but I had no idea his like reputation. So when I met him, I just like gave him no credit other than like you're a pro player. Let's talk about YouTube. And I think that just like that worked really well. I got him off of his weird,
The
his
Brawlhalla
hard-headed
community
ways.
the Brawlhalla community and esports scene can be a bit of a bubble sometimes and a bit of a clique kind of thing, which is why I love when more and more people get into like content and the pro player scene because it kind of like there sometimes I notice it's a bit of a wake up call for people who have been in Brawlhalla since like 2014 or 2016 or something.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like that was a really great experience for both of you.
Like
Yeah.
Supreme probably knows about that the most because you guys are like, I don't talk to like anyone outside. I just like I don't want to have. I want to be as close to the audience as possible and understanding of how Brawl works.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, I try to distance myself from pro players and from like the community at times.
Mm.
Because I don't want to know too much,
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
because I might know something that they may not know, and that's something that's and YouTube is very important. Is understanding your audience may have no clue what a Brawlhalla is. They'll
Yeah.
ask you like they won't even know it's a game, so you have to be like,
Yeah.
it's this thing that people care about, and I don't know why there's $700,000 at this tournament, but there is, and we care about it very deeply. And
Yeah, I think that's a very refreshing perspective. Sometimes I feel that way as well. I mean, I might be deep in the community, but I mean, I'm still in because I think because of my age and lifestyle, I kind of tend to be sort of like set apart as well, like apart from a lot of the community sometimes, just based on like since I'm out of college and stuff like that. So I can understand
feel
to some
old.
degree where you come from there.
You're
So
telling me.
dude, yeah, you guys are like, no offense, but you're like old, and then like relatively, relatively,
yeah,
adult,
I
so.
know I'm old.
and then I feel old too, because like I'm 22, and I for whatever reason I feel old. They like make fun of me.
Man,
You're getting there.
don't even. You're 22. Don't even talk to me about being
I get
old.
I get called a fossil in my Discord every day.
You're
Yeah,
a
'cause, like,
fossil.
Not
I'm
even
a
30.
fossil. I'm probably the oldest one here. Like I get it. Like that's yeah.
But-
we're kind of our own breed a little bit sometimes because it's kind of like it can be sometimes the difference between like high school like people interacting in high school and people interacting in college. Like it's
Yeah.
not that there can't be overlap. Certainly there can be, but sometimes just like different experiences, different lifestyles just lead to like gravitating to different like views and
Yeah.
talking to people and stuff.
I think the entire reason I'm like a onliner, or not like an onliner, like into esports and everything and like just games was like in high school I sucked. Like I was failing every class,
Mm.
had no friends besides like my two childhood friends, and then I stopped going to high school and I just listened to League of Legends lore videos all day. And I was like, yeah, this is better than going to
League of
school.
Legends lore,
And
so good. Was it Necrit by chance? Necrit videos?
Necrit, every day.
Oh my gosh, I
Every
love
day.
Necrit.
every video, every website, every webcomic on the way to school, on the way back from school.
Necrit,
'cause I eventually just went,
Necrit does lore masters proud. Honestly, like he is fantastic.
it was like my escape totally, and I think that's why I'm not like like a regular person. Like I think that's why I have the 2 monitors set up. Yeah, people come over to my house and they're like, "Why do you have 2 monitors?" I'm like, don't worry about it. This
Don't worry
doesn't matter.
about it. Great. Was there something? Was there anything else you wanted to share about your journey up to like this point of like being a like Brawlhalla YouTuber of sorts?
I think the only thing I'd like to share that you guys might find interesting is that I was so unaware of how Brawlhalla was. I was so disconnected from the community in every sense that I came into this whole YouTube thing believing I knew more than everybody. So my first 20 or so
Okay.
videos I made in complete confidence that no one would ever disagree with me.
Hmm.
And I've obviously been like mega humbled, and then I've like met pros and stuff, and then
Right.
I think that was such a weird transition point and like the way the content worked. And I went through like a divot where I was like so lost because I was like I don't know everything anymore. And then I've kind of figured my way back up a little bit.
Right. Yeah. It's that whole like I don't have a there's a that whole Dunning Kruger, is it called Dunning Kruger effect, where like
It's yeah, that or like
like very
imposter.
like people can be very confident but not know anything, and then there's a
Yeah,
dip when you
Yeah.
realize how much you don't know, but then you slowly gain competence as you gain more knowledge.
yeah.
Yeah.
My entire brand and confidence worked off of the fact that I believed I knew everything, and then when I realized I knew nothing, it hurt so bad that I was like, I like couldn't figure out how to come back until
Mm.
I just kept taking more and more videos. I mean, there's some videos where I just read information from
Yeah.
a script, and then I was like, I can't do this, can't do that. It's like, for such a small thing, it is a very like wild ride
Yeah, but
to
it
figure
seems
out.
like you've bounced back from that, from what I can tell, right? Like you're getting back in. Are you starting?
Yeah.
Are you feeling like you're becoming more like actually confident in your Brawlhalla knowledge and esports knowledge?
Um, Esports knowledge, no, and Brawlhalla knowledge, no as well. Because the more you learn, the less you kind of know.
Mm,
But with
yeah.
YouTube knowledge, I feel like I go up. My most recent 3 videos have obviously been my most successful videos. One's like nearing 300,000 views,
Okay.
right?
Wow, that's
And
crazy. Oh yeah, so like your proficiency in making YouTube content is
but
going up.
when I
Yeah.
posted that video, I told myself I was like, if this gets 4,000 views, that's expected. That's okay. Like that is so you never. There is no confidence anymore. It's just like here's what I enjoy doing, and I kind of know a few things that people like.
Yeah.
And that is really the best shot I can give it because like if I try to say a fact, if I try to state that this is how this worked or this is why this happened, someone will disagree. Um, so I've
Mhm.
kind of taken this more like relatable approach as like, we're figuring out the game together,
Yeah.
and like I don't know what's going on, but these
Putting
people
yourself in the
are
same level as the audience, which I really like that down to earth approach.
realistically I am. I'm a terrible Brawlhalla player,
Oh, I
so
mean,
I might as
same.
well I might as well you know
Welcome
I
to the
my
party.
my peak elo is 1568. I've not gone above high like mid to high gold. So
I'm just like a bad gamer, dude. I think every single video game I played, I am gold or plat in it. I've never been higher, never been
yeah,
lower.
you and I are about the same skill level
Yeah,
basically. Like there's like only one or two games I've ever gotten into like master level, and one of them was Cookie Run Kingdom.
that's a hard
So
game. That's a
and
difficult game,
I
dude.
just looked at tier lists and just followed what other people did, and I made it or whatever. So in the PvP whatever. That's fascinating. I did not know. Like I'm learning a lot more about you and your journey, Vondakay.
So
I'm
sick.
appreciating you and your journey and your content even more now. So that's awesome.
Thanks.
Um,
And yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I I just like I said, I still barely. I feel bad because I'm so unfamiliar with a lot of the deeper Brawlhalla community stuff. I just saw that you guys were doing, global breakout stuff, and I was like, I want to be a part of this. I want to talk to people.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
That's
yeah. I mean, and Global Breakout and other like like Brawlhalla orgs do have a long history, and even like there are times when I feel like I don't know some of the like later stuff. Basically,
mhm.
anything older than 2018, which people like Consolix and Boomy and Sandstorm were like definitely around like 2016, 17 or whatever. So some of
I
that stuff
refer.
even I don't know.
Yeah, I
So
refer to it in my videos as the Big Three era.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's Boomy, Sandstorm, and Wrenched.
Yep,
is the Big
wrenched.
Three era.
Yep. Um,
So
yeah, they definitely were yeah, they and just a handful of others were dominating at the time, from what I understand. But
I mean, it was this lands and like there was people that had an understanding of the game that like no one else. I think Noel, you could also put up that like
yep,
there's
Yeah,
I
these
think
guys just had a grip on the
yeah,
game that no one else did.
hmm
It's insane.
yeah.
I mean, if you look at like on a very small side tangent, if you look at Noel's prize money, it's like I think somewhere near $50,000
Hmm.
or 30. It's like $30,000 to $50,000. For the tournaments they were going to for the prize money they had to get anywhere above $10,000 would have just been
Oh
like
right,
first medal after first medal.
the prize pools would have been much smaller. So yeah, yeah,
I mean, they are just ridiculously good at this
yeah.
with
yeah.
no guides, no YouTube, no nothing. And they figured it out.
Basically,
So
It's really good
those
placements.
are among the pioneers, basically, of at least
mhm.
of Brawlhalla skill, gameplay and
And
everything.
there's Boomy, and that guy's just like timeless, unbelievably timeless.
hmm
Boomy is what got me into the game more seriously, actually.
Actually, yeah. So let's. So Vondakay, you wanted to know more about mine and Supreme's journeys.
Yes.
Let's transition to that. Supreme, go ahead. Talk about how whatever you want to share about like getting into Brawlhalla and Brawlhalla content in the Brawlhalla community.
Okay. So I originally saw the game off of YouTube before I even like did it, like even before I was even like knew that there was a Twitter community or Discord servers for it. I would see some YouTube videos on it and I decided to try it out because it was a free PlayStation game and it looked like a lot of fun. I always enjoyed things that had like scythes, any type of game that had a weapon like that. That's basically what first got me into it, and then from there I noticed that they did on YouTube that they would upload like tournament matches, and from there I would watch them, and that's where I started seeing Boomy, and it kind of made me play the game more just because he was always doing a lot of cool different stuff.
You saw the goat.
Yeah,
6'1".
That's awesome.
and then from that point when I took it a bit more seriously, it was, I think, I can't remember exactly what year I started, but I remember I was here for like the original Charged OG event
Oh
and all
yeah, I
that,
remember that.
and I think when I joined the game, the newest legend.
Chargers.
I
That's like Kaya and Isaiah were out around there.
Yeah, I think Isaiah was the newest legend
Hmm.
around the time when I joined. Or I remember from that point on, I remember seeing every new legend release. And from there, I was on Facebook, and somebody had posted like a just like a pop-up tourney invite. So I joined from there, and then that was the first time I made Discord. And when
Oh
I
my
joined
god.
that Discord server, I helped the person run the tourney because this was the first time they did it too, and they
Oh
just wanted
wow.
to fight a bunch of strong people. And then from that point, I was on Discord for 2 years running a brawl related server. My passion for the game grew, and I didn't join the Twitter community until 2022 of March. So I've only been here for a year.
Wow. It feels like you've been around for much longer than that, though.
It
Yeah.
feels like
Oddly
that.
enough.
It feels like that for me
When
too,
I research
honestly.
for my videos, I see your name pop up everywhere. Yes. You and Baron.
I think that's crazy too, because honestly, I'm just like, who me? I'm just a worm.
Hey, Twitter's
I just
very good
get
at connecting.
I
It
get
really,
silly on
yeah,
Twitter.
yeah,
It's
it really is.
basically it.
It
Like
is. If you like something, it will find
it
people
will
to like
put
it.
it'll put you in your bubbles and boxes of interest and stuff as you engage with them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and from that moment, like after joining Twitter, I got I've always been like I've always been deeply in the player side of the community through Discord
hmm
because I was
Mhm.
constantly playing with server members, and from there we would like end up having like the Brawl Twitter linked to the Discord so I could keep up with like patch notes and updates and stuff like that, or events and battle passes. And I didn't really get into the Twitter community until I noticed Swerve's Discord server, and he would
Yeah.
host drip competitions, and a lot of my server members would tell me to start entering them, so I decided to do it because we would just do it for fun, and
Yep.
That
everyone liked
guy's
the stuff that I
nuts.
made.
The slow
And
rise
then,
of the Drip Lord. Yep.
yeah, I
The
started
canon
winning
drip
them,
lord.
and then Swerve said he was like, "You should definitely make a Twitter and start posting it," and I was like, "All right, if you say so," and now I'm here.
They threw you a hardball at the Pact of Poison. That's like probably the hardest color to make it work. That is
I
definitely like a difficult one.
I had some good ones that I liked. There was still like a lot of people were just so upset. I still had a lot of people that liked the ones that I made, but you can't always save a color. You
Nah,
can't make everyone happy.
it it's tough. I like the thorns and poison though. I did see
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
very good. There's a lot of skins like that are on theme with the color
No,
that aren't a part of the battle pass.
if you put the Pact of Poison on Mecha Ragnir, it makes him the Evangelion angel. And I
Oh,
think I should
crazy.
add that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Claim
I've never
that
seen anyone
drip
else do
before
it.
anyone else does on Twitter,
No,
right?
honestly, that
You
is like my
you
favorite.
can do it on the the BP5 Orion skin as well.
Oh yeah,
There's
the
another color
Orion
that makes it
Prime.
look like the Ava.
Orion, yeah,
Mhm.
Orion Prime could definitely be a like a yeah.
So
Mecha
what about you,
kind of-
Baron?
Yeah,
How are you here?
my journey. So I mean, this is something I've shared multiple times over the years in various like videos and chats and whatever. So basically, I discovered Brawlhalla in 2018 through Steam, looking at free to play games at the time. Basically, I grew up on Smash Brothers, Melee, and Brawl. I always played just with my siblings at home. I was never in the LAN community at all. I just always played at home. But I loved platform fighters, and I really liked the Saturday morning cartoon style of Brawlhalla. So I started playing, and the gameplay was rather infectious. I would just play, for hours on end,
Hmm.
through the evenings, through various evenings after work. And so this game is fun. And then I found the lore, and I mean, I like lore in general. I like looking at backstories and stuff. But what really caught my attention was that there were connections between different lore things. Which I mean, it's not a new thing. Other games treat their lore with connections and things, but I just wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting Lance Star Champion to be mentioned in two Legends lores. I wasn't expecting the Feywild to have this sort of narrative thread through several legends. I wasn't expecting the Order of the Exalted Lions to have their own narrative thread and stuff.
That's
I,
awesome.
I kept seeing these names pop up over and over, and so I just kind of thought, okay, surely there's got to be some kind of like. I had made a lore wiki for another very small like indie horror series before, Apps Are Incorporated, a while back, and I thought surely there's got to be some like resource online. Someone must have collected all the lore and made the connections, and there wasn't. So I made a lore wiki, which admittedly now I haven't updated that lore wiki in the past couple of years because I've been focused on many other things in my life. But at the time, I not only copied all of the Legends lore on a Google Blogger page, but I also wrote down all the connections, and I also researched the general like historical and mythological inspirations behind the concepts of the characters, because I
What
want
is goat?
just for
Nerd.
example, Bodvar, is his story accurate to Vikings and stuff? And I found out, oh wow, berserkers were called berserkers or bear shirts because they would wear a bear pelt and channel the spirit of a bear in their fighting, and that's what Vikings actually did, and that's what Bodvar does, and all that kind of stuff. And there's so many examples of that where clearly BMG has done their homework, at least on a surface level, and used that as inspiration for their lore. And I was doing a lot of that, and I got connected with like Expired, especially when I was told that there was a private Discord server that chats about lore. It's public now. I run it. It's not the most active, but people talk about lore when they want. But and I got onto Twitter in October of 2018. Around that time, so about a year later, BMG. So during a back to school event in like September of 2019, BMG was doing like a little lore quiz, and they promised community color codes to people who could answer. And this was Community Colors version 1 at the time, just community colors. I had won community colors already in a dev stream, and by the way, I joined Brawlhalla around the same time as Supreme. Isaiah was the first legend I remember being new. So Brawlhalla made a tweet and saying, "Okay, if you can answer this question, we'll DM you with a CC code." The question was, who is the national hero of Batavia? I looked at that and I thought, and I actually said this in a reply, this is so easy. Like, it's obviously Diana. I mean, I was expecting something challenging here. So the Brawlhalla account,
Flexing.
the Brawlhalla account DM'd me saying, good job. Here's your CC code. And I said, so I already won this. I already got this from a dev stream. Is it okay if I like make my own quiz and like give it away that way? And they're like, yeah, sure. Here's a few other CC codes you can give away. There's no way we'll make a quiz as difficult as you will. So go ahead. And so I made a more challenging quiz, and I kept up this like lore quiz thing for weeks on end for a few years. I haven't done it a lot recently because I've been working full time and other stuff.
All these years.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to try to get back in the habit of doing weekly lore quizzes because at the Brawlhalla. And anyway, getting ahead of myself. Shortly after that, about a month later, Brawlhalla DM'd me again on Twitter, saying that they were trying out this new partner they're creating a partner program, and they wanted me to be a part of it. I was baffled because they're like, hey, we think you're awesome. People we want to put in this partner program are like the biggest YouTubers and streamers and artists and whatever, and we think you're awesome. We'd like you to be part of it. I'm just like, really? Because I mean, I'm very flattered, but like, I'm not much of a YouTuber or a streamer. I just like, sure, I made this lore website. I think they were impressed by that, and they said, yeah, you are rather unorthodox, but we were happy to talk about things that we can work with you. And so then, early 2020, they made a Discord server for the partners, and then and the first time that the public heard about it was, the very first battle pass was May of 2020. I remember how huge that was, and my followership just exploded because I was giving away metadata Asuri skins for a lore quiz to celebrate the battle pass at the time, and it just kind of kept going from there, basically.
I remember the battle pass coming out. I was like, only Fortnite does this. It is game breaking that another game is doing this.
It was huge at the time. I mean, yeah, I mean, I was super happy. I know that battle passes are like so much the norm now, but like the way that BMG approaches battle pass, I really like it a lot. It's very cheap. I love how they involve, the Brawlhalla partners and it just drives so much engagement throughout the whole community and so much like goodwill and so much excitement everywhere. And I've loved.
I remember they did like the Adventure Time crossover, and I was like, it cannot get better than this. And then like a few months later, the Battle Pass came out. I was like, oh my god, that was like the golden era of the game. I was like, Boomy and Sandstorm still play, and there's a Battle Pass, and you can be Princess Bubblegum. I was like, it's peaked.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think it peaked at that time. I think it's only gotten better over time in general.
I think recently it's been incredible. Like, I've never paid this much attention to a game before, and like Duke hopping on that one dev stream, and they're like, look, we got some problems here. Let's lay them out and let's find some solutions. Yeah,
summer autumn of 2022 was rough, but honestly, just like it
was good for it.
I think it was. I mean, like at the time I did you may remember when I did Project Hugin, when I was trying to kind of figure out, it was this huge survey I made to try to figure out, how the players were feeling, and I shared that with the community and with the developers. I still don't know if that helped much at all, but
I very much liked the idea. I remember when I pinged my server for people to fill it out, and I gave them codes.
Yeah, but in general, and I got a huge response from it and got really good representative data. But the point is, just from like BCX 2022 onwards, it's been fantastic. I imagine there might still be some, there will always be highs and lows and everything, but I'm enjoying the ride regardless, because I just found so many opportunities in this community to just have fun, and also, I mean, being a married guy with a full-time job, like, and stuff like that, it's just treating this as a hobby has been the best thing for me, instead of trying to make a full-time gig out of this. And I've just been having just fun the whole time, and that has helped me a lot.
It's just from passion.
Mm-hmm.
If I did any of the YouTube stuff for money, I would not do it in gaming, first of all, but because gaming gets the lowest cut, and it's just like, I think you burn out so fast.
Yeah,
If you, like,
and
not
you
enjoy
and who
it.
knows how long you'd even be able to, because I'm thinking like, if I want a career, I want to be able to like work until I like retire basically, and I haven't yet seen any feasible way, any reliable way to like be an internet creator for 20, 30, 40 years basically.
Have to be brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you'd
you
have to
really
be
have to be on
lucky
your
as
game.
well because the internet changes a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
People have done like 10 to 15 years and stuff, Mr. Beast,
Mhm.
PewDiePie, and lots of other people, but
I
um,
mean, there's stuff for life at a certain point, but it's always good to have like a backup plan. Like I worry about that because you guys probably interact with this a bit more with like a specifically like one of the biggest things in my videos I used to do, I don't do it anymore, is I'd like try to connect with like I was like, yo, if you're in high school and your life sucks, like it does get better, but um. And I used to do that. You guys aren't gonna like Coslix for this, but I used to like kind of say that towards the end of the videos, and he's like,
yep.
"You gotta cut that out. It reduces engagement." And so I cut it out. But I used
I
to
mean,
like,
I get why you said that, and I mean, sorry, go
but it was a
ahead.
big reason I started was just like to hopefully reach someone that was like me, because Brawlhalla for me is like an outlet, right? And like
Yep, yep,
hopefully they can
same
like
here.
be in this online space and they can have friends here and they can have real connections and meet them at BCX, but like always have a plan A or a plan B or some real life skill that you can have comfort in, because online is very fragile, very
And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
tricky.
I'm definitely with you about the whole thing about it gets better. I'm one of the people who tries to like say that to the people in high school and college all the time, and
Mhm.
my
It's
results have
hard.
my results have varied honestly. And I mean, I get it because when you're in the thick of it, yeah, it's probably not what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I know it helps it might help sometimes, but like when you're in the thick of your emotions and everything, and you tell someone it gets better, and then it's like, well,
My
thanks, but
my
what about now? Like it sucks now, Varian.
my
Come
biggest
on, man.
advice. Yeah, Baron. Can't you like solve my depression, dude? My
uh,
my biggest
yeah. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, my biggest advice, like for anyone that's doing that stuff, it's really hard, but it's like if you have something that you just somewhat care about, just somewhat enjoy in your life. Like for me, I liked Star Wars, and I hated high school, and I like had my fair share of bullies, and I had issues in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to the lunchroom cafeteria, and I was like, screw this, bro. I'm watching Star Wars 1 through 3 in this cafeteria right now, and I don't care what anyone says. And I'd just sit there and I'd huddle over, and I was like a complete, like nerd. And that was when I was in my deepest state. I was like, at least I have something that I care about. And it was like
Yeah,
lore and
exactly.
Star Wars, and then that went to the whole like League of Legends lore route, and then eventually like
Mm-hmm.
caring about video games
Yeah. I
and
mean,
so on. But
there's power in hobbies and
you just have
in
to have
this
something you
pastime.
feel.
And that this is why I focus. This is why I talk so much about gratitude in my tweets, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
because I feel like that. Because I just learned even before I went on Twitter, I've learned from personal experience how unhelpful my advice can be. Because sometimes I feel that way too, right? I want to help people, but trying to solve people's problems is just not it, chief. In many ways, in many
No.
situations. So but I found a decent amount of success when I just say, today I'm grateful for this, and I invite other people to share gratitude because I know from personal experience that if you find there's always something to be grateful for every day, Star Wars, League of Legends lore, whatever, and
I don't
you know
know.
you're grateful for that, and it never solves your problems, but it helps you carry on. It helps
It
you have
keeps you
something to live
grounded.
for. It keeps you grounded, exactly. Um,
Yeah.
so
It reminds you it's not all bad.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
it's like I almost think the Star Wars thing is from like a. I used to just have a VHS player, and I rewatched 1 through 6 like every night, and now I
Oh
think like
man, I grew up on VHS
dude, I think like I
movies. Yeah.
can't live without Star Wars. I can't go to bed without audio playing. It's like a serious
Mm,
issue. I
yeah.
need to have something going. I, I don't know. It's weird. Hope you guys don't have that problem, but I need like a
When I
VHS
was
player
younger,
going.
I needed music to go to sleep. Yeah, not so much
I use a
anymore.
fan.
He's a
Yeah,
fan. You're just
white
I
noise.
use
Yeah,
I used to be the TV, so I know how you feel there, and then it kind of went to like YouTube videos on my phone, but then I'd wake up with some random video playing, my algorithm's all messed
well.
up, and then my phone would be like 1%, so I opted to a fan, and that's been doing wonders for me.
I know there's one thing Baron wanted to talk about, and this is a good pivot. because the YouTuber I fall asleep to every night, and people have told me they fall asleep to my videos, which I don't know how I feel about, but the YouTuber I watch every single night to fall asleep is a Zelda speedrunner. He is Clint Stevens. I fall asleep to all his videos, and that's why I just know every single part of Ocarina of Time and like all the skips like the back of my hand, but I've never played a single Zelda game. I've never played a single Mario game either.
Wow. I've watched a few speedrunning videos of Ocarina of Time and other things, so I know some of it, but wow, we might have to I might have to like do a stream with you, Vondakay, and like we'll play at least a Mario game or a Zelda game or something.
I played racing. I've raced.
Okay.
I'm a 150cc competitive racer.
Okay.
On Mario Kart.
Rosalina.
Do you play Mario? Oh, yeah, Rosalina. Okay. So there we go. I will say, like, it's some people have made content on like playing something for the first time that everyone has played before. Like, for example, someone reacting to the movie The Princess Bride or something, right?
Yeah, I hate to break it.
So,
but I'm just like, sorry, what were you gonna say?
That was just an idea for content if you wanted. Like if you're not familiar with a certain Zelda or Mario game, and if that was just a content idea, just in general. I'm not knocking you for not playing it because.
No, it's a good idea. I like hate to break it to anyone who's a gamer, but I'm sadly not a true gamer. I think if you only play League of Legends, you're not a gamer.
Well,
and that is who I was.
you play racing games and League of Legends.
I played only this is bad. This is a bad outlook on life. I played only League of Legends from probably end of 6th grade to freshman year of college.
Wow.
And I had a day where I got a noise complaint. I was like, you know what? Maybe we stop playing League. Maybe we hang it up.
Hey, I don't think you should. I understand why you say this is so bad and all that stuff because they're gaming culture and stuff. But honestly, it's only awkward if you make it awkward, kind of a thing. Like that's your gaming experience, right? Like I've never had a PlayStation or an Xbox console ever. I've only ever had Nintendo consoles, and I skipped the N64. I never had one. I never had a Wii U. And I never had a 3DS or DS ever.
Yeah.
So we all have different. Another good example for me is like I played the original Pokemon Game Boy games, and then I skipped Gen 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now I'm playing Gen 8 and 9. So
it's like a totally different game now, isn't it? I've only played Diamond.
But yeah, anyway, going back, so you mentioned Zelda earlier because, like I said, like one of the talking points that I did bring up, that I wanted to bring up briefly. We're recording this on May 12th. This episode, if all goes well, should go up on the day after. But we're recording this on Friday, May 12th, which is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Day. The release day of probably one of the most anticipated games of my life, personally, because I'm a huge Zelda fan. And Vondakay, don't feel bad for not having played a Zelda game. I don't hold it against you. Hey, I love that you know as much as you do about Ocarina of Time. Is a classic. I love it. Personally, anyway, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Go off about it. Let us know.
My brief journey. My first Zelda game was Link to the Past. Actually, I made a tweet thread about this earlier today. I started with a Link to the Past on the SNES, and then I never had an N64, but I played the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time. But I also played Twilight Princess, the Wii version. I love Twilight Princess a lot. So it's so cool and what?
You started a list. You got through the very first game you played, and then had to take a pause to talk about it. Oh my god. Twilight Princess.
Yeah. I love the vibe of Twilight Princess.
Yeah, same.
It is really cool and dark and gritty and everything. I also do.
Reminded me of Majora's Mask.
Yeah, and I never played Majora's Mask, but I've watched a YouTuber play through it, so I know about it. I never finished Wind Waker, but I love Wind Waker. The next Zelda game I really played after Twilight Princess was Skyward Sword. I know there have been some criticisms about Skyward Sword. I love it personally. I have lots of wonderful memories with it. I love the journey that I went through with that. And then
was like,
what?
I thought the big one was like the Breath of the Wild. Isn't that the hugest? That's like the big one, right?
That's the big one that came out 6 years ago. Yeah, on the Switch, and that was my first Switch game. And yeah, that is bar none my favorite Zelda game. Until like obviously I need to play through Tears of the Kingdom to say whether or not that's still the case. I'm guessing Tears of the Kingdom will become my new favorite Zelda game. I'm not gonna say any spoilers. I do have the game. I actually played it for about half an hour before this, before we started recording, because I wanted to at least get something in. So I've seen the introduction. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but my gosh, that the vibe of the introduction is so good. I just had to walk slowly through it, and I stopped where Link does his first like real big dive, basically, and I just like stopped right there. So very very soon into it, but I was just
eager to get back to it.
I will admit, so nothing. I'm enjoying this podcast episode certainly, but yeah, it just so happened that I'm excited to play more tonight, but I also have been I'm very happy and have been excited to also talk with you, Vondakay, as well. So
I understand where we rank. I know we're below. I get it, dude.
But hey, as we've been talking, Vondakay, like I said, I've come to appreciate you and your journey and your content more and more. But yeah, I had Tears of the Kingdom and talking points because I wanted to briefly just kind of say I'm excited about it. If there's anything anyone else wanted to say about Tears of the Kingdom, I might be the only person here who's played even like a couple minutes of it. But
I don't know. Supreme, what are you playing right now? Do you play any games?
Do you play any games?
Yeah.
Do you like jazz?
You game, bro?
I'm a pretty big gamer, if I had to say
Nice.
so. Besides Brawlhalla, I play a lot of Destiny 2.
I actually have no clue what you do in that game. I know there's like an enemy and you have an orb and the orb talks to you. And they probably stole the orb from Brawlhalla.
There's several. I actually think Brawlhalla stole the orb from Destiny.
No. It's called Ghost, right?
Yeah, it's called Ghost. It's the thing that I like the lore for Destiny because they canonically talk about how you respawn. It's because of the ghost. So anytime you go into hard missions and whatnot, they will talk about like, don't be stupid, you'll die.
I've had someone
let your ghost get shot.
I've had someone walk me through some Destiny lore a while back, and it is fascinating. But
the lore is great. I think you'd honestly like it.
As far as I can tell, like the lore is great, and what I've heard is fantastic. The reason I don't get deeper into like lore of lots of other games is I just don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to delve that deeply, like I have in Brawlhalla and a couple other things. Like
you'll just leave us for a bigger, brighter.
And I don't want to do that because I love I love being in the Brawlhalla community so much. I'd rather like stay here and like there are people who are experts in Destiny 2 lore. There are people who are better experts in Zelda lore than I am. But I get like I have Zelda lore books. I have SCP lore books. I like League of Legends lore and stuff like that. So, but
How does it feel to be the rank 1 Valhallan lore master in Brawlhalla? Though you have to be rank 1 undisputed. Like
oh yeah, I know. Like I try not to toot my own horn too much, but I do. I know it can.
King.
It can be. I know it can be objectively said that I'm the Valhallan level lore master, basically, and of course I, got a trophy for it. So,
dude, you had a panel at BCX. I think you're rank 1. It's safe to say. It's awesome to say.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure being the Culprit Bear.
I mean, it's because not like I'm not the first lore nerd. I know like Expired and other people have been lore nerds, but I know I'm the first one to have been like the one who like focused so hard on it, basically. To be like as much of an expert as I am. It's the whole like you see your niche, and I think each of you have done the same thing as well. Like you're good at one thing, and there's not a lot of people in the community who are good at that one thing or whatever.
Cringe.
And Vondakay, there are a lot of people who have you beat on being cringe. Let me assure you. But
I try my best. I get out cringed.
I think if you say you're cringe, you're not actually that cringe. If you acknowledge your cringiness, you're not as cringe as you say you are.
I make My Hero Academia references to what character is which pro player, dude. Like that's. I really try my best, but there's other good competitors out there.
My guy, I've made my brand on being a librarian gamer. Okay, how weird is that? Like we're all weird in our own way.
Supreme's 27. You know, that's kind of cringe. Like, you guys do your best. I
I'm
don't
old.
know.
I've been making Brawlhalla drip.
Yeah. Oh man.
Canon.
Yeah. It's funny when you say canon because obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if you mean canon or canon.
So, yeah, I make that pun sometimes as well. So with two ends it's the weapon. With one end it's like the literature, basically. I don't know if there's any lore. I don't think there's lore implications to your drip, Supreme, yet. But
it's just Supreme. Oh.
But yeah. Anyway, speaking of Brawlhalla, some more. We had some really exciting announcements from the developers that I had, so we can talk about some of the upcoming stuff as well. I also do want to say, clarify that even though I'm a Brawlhalla partner, very rarely do I know about something ahead of time. The only times I know about something ahead of time are like battle passes, basically. I didn't know any of the announcements at BCX 2022. I had no idea beforehand. So, and also like the announcements about the 100 million player celebration.
Yes.
A lot of really exciting stuff. I love it. Obviously, I get most excited about like lore centric stuff, but it's also I like celebrating a community milestone like this as well. So what thoughts do you guys have about some of the new things coming up? What are you excited about? What other thoughts do you have about it?
I know for sure what I want to talk about first.
Sure.
But if you have something like pressing that you
Vondakay, I think you can.
Go ahead. I can go.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I, for one, love the new logo. I think it's hands down better than the old one.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's hands down better than the one older than that one. I think they snapped.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if you look at the competitors out there for, like, logo design, for that new Brawlhalla logo, it's like, that is where they need to be right now, and they met it.
Oh my gosh. And actually, I have a little bit of insight about that, actually. So I was gushing about the logo in the partner Discord server, and I was gushing in there because several of the devs are in there, like Szillaz, Left Stick Down, Toast, and Defensive, of course. Just a handful, not all of them. But I was saying things like, so first of all, I know how much of a risk and a process it is to like rebrand or change a logo. It's a lot of work. And like you have to be really careful about that kind of thing, right? And in BMG, I imagine you see how much work they do to design a legend. I imagine they did a lot for the logo. And so what I said to them, and I'm paraphrasing here, the end result I think is perfect for how Brawlhalla feels as an experience. The hammer or fiery sword bit, it kind of puts you in the perspective of a legend of the battlefield watching a new legend spawn. You're seeing it come from above, basically, like below, essentially, which is really cool. Right in the middle of you're right in the middle of the action. The word Brawlhalla is like familiar. Like it looks mostly the same, but it's new enough, changing like the way the letters and the colors look just enough to emphasize a more dynamic, crackling, like action kind of vibe.
It has a character to it.
Yeah, and I think one thing I learned at the lore panel at BCX 2022 is when Matt Woomer emphasized that, like, basically he was talking about how the lore is both serious and silly at the same time. Every aspect of Brawlhalla, every little detail goes down to it is both serious and silly. They're taking something silly in a serious way, basically. Or they're taking something serious in a silly way. I think that's, because Valhalla is serious, but Brawlhalla does not take itself too seriously. So, and then Szillaz was sort of reacting to that. And also I said that it's like comic book style, right? There's a little bit of there might be a little bit of camp and exaggeration to it, but that's how Brawlhalla feels. And here's what Szillaz had to say. He said, "It's been a huge project. I started planning, he said that he started planning the rebranding back in August, and dove more into it back in this past September. He said that he's very happy that everyone seems to see it as basically as an upgrade. And he said internally they got a note when showing it off when they were showing it off to other people in BMG internally. Some fellow devs said that it looked like how they always saw the Brawlhalla logo on their head, basically. That's nice. And that this is how Brawlhalla really is. And I really like that. I think that's what they were trying to do with this logo. And I have seen some people like have different opinions, and that's fine. But it seems like we all feel like this is really good. I'm looking forward to what they said. There's going to be UI upgrades or UI updates as well. So I'm
Yeah,
very
that's what I
interested to
wanted to
see
see.
what else in there. What else in the game are they updating that they haven't told us yet? Maybe they'll talk more about that on Tuesday, because the update's coming this next Wednesday. So
I think one of them is going to be something with voice lines. Not entirely sure, but
if I haven't heard anything about voice lines, if that is true, that would be really awesome because people really. Oh, Vondakay, I think your camera cut out. Did we lose him?
We might have lost him.
Oh, Vondakay. Hello? Oh, boy.
Perhaps an internet flicker.
Okay, I'm sending a message. Anyway, for the time being, yeah. We, yeah, I'm very. Whether or not there are voice, I haven't heard anything about that, but yeah, UI. I'm very interested to see what else they have to show us. Basically, it seems like there's something they've had in the works for a long time. There we go. We see you now.
hello.
Yep, we can hear you
Welcome
now.
back.
We can see you. Yeah, welcome back.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, hopefully you can edit that out. My Wi-Fi at 10:11 and 10:30 just like it sometimes freaks out. I don't know. Why
It's
it does it.
fine. It wasn't that big of a deal. Anyway, you were talking about what you were looking forward to.
I was looking for. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they're adding like voice lines somewhere in the game. I'm not totally sure, but at BCX they like briefly hinted at it.
Did they?
And
I don't
then-
remember that.
Well, they had us record
Yeah.
a chant. Remember?
Yeah, they.
Oh,
yeah, at the very
that's what you're
end.
talking about. That's right. So
Yeah.
voice packs, right? There are other. So okay, I thought you were talking about like voice lines for Legends.
No, that
So
was
I know,
sick, though.
so like announcer voice packs. So I know that some other like platform fighters or indie like platform fighters made by indie developers have like multi. Well, okay, Multiverses has like announcer voice packs, right? Where like KO or like good game and all that kind of stuff is voiced by different people. And so yeah, I do remember in BCX they said that maybe one of the characters can be like the crowd, basically. So
Yeah. Some people didn't like the new stock UI changes. I was like, I thought it made it feel more arcadey, but
yeah. I think probably the most important thing about that particular aspect is readability. I'd like to think that I mean I don't have any complaints about readability for that. I'd like to think that they tested that out internally, but I'm not
I
sure.
know-
I'm not sure.
I know for the longest time something that kind of trips people up. Even in my comments section, I'll zoom in on the health bars
Mhm.
and like yellow and orange doesn't really click with people. Like, what does that mean? Like, I'll do a transition from like yellow HP to red HP, and people are like, they don't really get the point of it. And I don't know if Brawlhalla should ever do a percentage damage thing, like Smash
Or some
does,
kind
where
of
they have, like-
damage number thing. There's been talk about that before. I know.
I'm not sure how
Yeah.
to be able to do it because part of the fun of Brawlhalla is like like an Elden Ring boss. You never, I guess you kind of know when it's gonna go down. I'm trying to think of a game. There's some games where like what
Monster
is it?
Hunter.
Monster Hunter.
Monster
Yeah.
Hunter, yeah.
You don't know. You kind of know, but you don't know when it's going to go down.
There are hints here and there. The same thing happens in Dungeons and Dragons. When I run Dungeons and Dragons games, I never tell the players like how much HP the enemies have, but I do tell them. I do tell them they're at about half health or about quarter health or something like that to like show them how they're doing. Personally, I do like the indicators thing. I could see. I'm not good enough at the game to like care about the specifics that some pros talk about with like no like consistency in combos or something.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of the discussion I've seen about numbers comes from. But
It's really hard taking info from, and I hate to bash on pro players, but I'm not directly, but it's really hard to take information from one group. Like pro players are they very much want things a certain way.
Yep.
And I've learned from like personal experience that, from advice I've received from pro players on how they would do YouTube, I'm like, this wouldn't work because not everyone is like a genius at Brawlhalla, so they don't really care if this combo is true at this percentage.
Yeah.
So it gets really tricky. It's like an impossible job for devs, honestly.
And I mean, there are many different demographics. The pro players are definitely one, and they should be listened to because the devs want this to be a good experience for everybody.
They have the best understanding.
They have the best understanding of like the very very in-depth mechanics, but they might not have the best understanding of say
who's
graphics,
playing the game.
Of say graphics or general audience or marketing or things. Maybe some of them do. It depends on the person. But I mean, other demographic groups can be middle and high, like people aged 13 to 18 playing the game. People in college, people like me who have a full-time job and a family. All these different kinds of people. We have 10 million players, but some of them are like my wife who literally only plays because they know someone who plays, or like they made an account one time because there's a wider range than what we see in the and like there's even a wider range than what we see in the Twitter. I've thought about this a lot because when I did the Project Hugen survey Project Hugen survey last year, I realized that if I wanted a sample size of the Brawlhalla players, it would have to be for the active community because that is a small subset of the whole player base. Because the way that I could distribute the survey was on Twitter and YouTube and Discord, and the people who are there are the people who are active in the community, who also talk more about the issues at hand. But it wouldn't be covering most of the players, so I had to make a decision early on that, like, okay, this survey is going to focus on the active player base, the people who are talking more about issues, but it's also not the majority of the players, so that's something to consider. There's some statistics, analytics stuff going on in there.
It's just it's difficult, like you mentioned earlier with the bubbles and boxes. People have a very hard time seeing out of their bubbles, and that can be very hard for like changes all around. So like I honestly think like one of the worst jobs ever would be like being a game dev, because like
you're trying to please as many people.
Being a professional like people pleaser.
Here's a good
TWK.
TWK has
TWK,
I respect the heck out of TWK. Man, like he deals with a lot and he has such a big job. But here's a good example of what we're talking about. So when the first Battle Pass came out in May of 2020, that's also when we were introduced to Battle Pass missions, right? And how the missions would go. At the time, there were some complaints from really seasoned players, pro players and like, platinum diamond players, who were just kind of like, these missions are dumb, or whatever, right? Like some of the missions were just like stupidly easy for them, right? Mm-hmm. Matt Woomer doesn't go on Twitter very often, but in this particular case, he was for whatever reason. And I remember he made a tweet at the time, around May or June or whatever, where he says, to those of you longtime players who are like complaining about the Battle Pass missions, like, how you don't like them, basically he was saying they're not intended for you. We made obviously you can do the missions, but you have to have an audience in mind when you make something like good, right? They made the Battle Pass missions with the intent to not just help you progress in the Battle Pass, but to help players less familiar with the game. If they want to complete the Battle Pass, they have to do things that force them to become aware of more things about the game, right? Because if it weren't for the Battle Pass missions or being involved in the community, I wouldn't know anything about a dash jump. I would have no idea.
Yeah, or like active input.
Or active input. I would have no idea. And also, they also reveal some things about lore. Like Core's platform, or Legends from Thera, or Legends with a pet, or things like that. They have a tag system now, the book club. They have a tag system now, which helps. But that's a good example of what we were talking about. Of the developers have this crazy job of trying to make Brawlhalla. They have a core player base, but they also have other people who are not the core player base, which I think outnumber the core player base. And
Yeah.
there's different weights they have to give to all that advice.
Multiverses had a problem with that. Listen a little too much
Yeah,
to the pros.
I
It's
noticed
pretty
that.
tough.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a problem to listen too closely to the people who are active every day, right?
Yeah.
If you listen to
Uh,
those, it's not bad that they did that, and play a first game certainly. But if you listen to the people who are the most active and who are the most willing to give you feedback, this is what we call volunteer bias in surveys. Volunteer bias is in most surveys, the people who take the surveys are the kind of people who are willing to take surveys or who are willing to take that survey, right? Or who are willing to share their opinion or who have an opinion, right?
yeah. It's like comment section.
Exactly. And so if you only focus on that, if you only focus on that, then you're going to make a game that pleases them, but probably only them. And
Yeah, I
that
mean,
is
like,
yeah.
and like the big perspective of things, like Brawlhalla is huge to us, right? But like the biggest games in the world are like Elden Ring, story
yeah.
mode games, like games that anyone can look at and be like, you know what, I got a mission here and I need to complete it. Like Brawlhalla is not so straightforward. Even when you open the game, it's like you got options,
Yeah.
and no one's gonna tell you what a dash jump is, and you just gotta go.
It's a different kind of game. It's not. Games like Elden Ring, even open world games, do have some degree of like leading you through in their own ways. Brawlhalla doesn't do that. It just gives.
It's a fighting game. It's like
it's the nature of a fighting game.
Do it, dude.
How do you want? Instead of saying here, you are here in this world, you are in our environment. But for a fighting game, it's just like here. How do you want to play?
Yeah. That's like the
you're
beauty
walking
of...
to us. It's like an arcade. You're walking to us. You're the one. You choose the experience.
That's like for the pro scene. That's what really traps me in because there is no like XP or character that's super, way stronger than the other characters. I mean, people are going to argue that, but like at BCX, and you're watching the best of the best people play that play for 12 hours a day, and they've developed their own way of defining how this game works for them, and they're playing their absolute best. There's no difference between them waking up in the morning and you. They just are able to press buttons better than you. Like Luna showing up to the Winter Royale on Lucian, I don't know.
Or Impala showing up to BCX with Kaya or something like that.
You can say whatever you want about a character. I mean, you can lock someone in a room for 100 years and say, like, figure out who's the best. They still won't have a grip on it. It always changes. And even in, like, adjacent games like Melee, it always changes.
It's the human factor, honestly. I think one of the reasons why people still find new things about Melee is that humans change, right?
I mean, you're trying to do something so perfect, so robotic and mathematic. Same thing with Brawlhalla. You're trying to be as perfect as possible against another person trying to be as perfect as possible. It's impossible. The task in itself is impossible, and that's what makes it like an art and make it so beautiful to watch. And the stories, like even
imperfections, yeah.
Even now, my newest YouTube video, it's not out yet. This is a leak, but it's about Made, and like I said, some people don't know what Brawlhalla is. Some people don't know about Brawlhalla esports, and some people don't even know who Made is because Made does like 2v2s. But if you just take the time to go to his Twitter and go to his game history and look at his matches, he went from PR, I think it's 82 as a Mordex main, to in the next few weeks being the #2 best player in a tournament versus Boomy. He went from PR 82, losing the last chance qualifier or the Arcadian to Impala. And then a few weeks later playing with Experience, and then that's the most earnings he's ever gone, second place right there, 82 to second. It's just, there's these stories everywhere. You just need someone to, nerd out enough to go find them. And that's what I love about it so much. It's everything.
Yeah.
Building those stories.
Yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, I feel like I could talk about this kind of thing for hours and hours, not just an hour and a half. And honestly, I hope to be able to continue to have more opportunities to chat with you, Vondakay, about this stuff because, we I think we have a lot of I think all three of us have a lot of similarities about how we kind of see our gaming experiences and our experiences in the community. So
yeah, I like that we're all. I don't think anyone here is not humble about the fact that we're not that good. So
like we like. We're all kind of like older. It's like we know our place as far as gamers go, as far as gaming go. Uh,
Yeah.
22, 27, and over. Yeah.
Um,
I'm older than 27, by the way.
mhm.
So I feel ancient. Um, but yeah.
I'm right behind you.
Right, yeah, you're right behind me there, Supreme. But anyway, we are. I think what we're gonna do is, again, as much as I'd love to talk more about this stuff, we're gonna conclude with a segment that we like to do here is kind of look at some fan art of Brawlhalla that we've just noticed on over Twitter, and stuff. So what I'm going to do, at least on in the Discord chat, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing, and then I'm also going to change what the audience sees as well. Okay, so and then yeah, we're just going to kind of go over them. So first of all, every artist every artist is given their permission to have their art being shared here, and you can see their tags up in the artwork. So first of all, we have this piece here by D Moon, one of the many great artists in the community, with the new
Also known as
Inari.
Butterscotch.
Sorry, what?
Also
Oh yeah,
known as
also known as
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch. Yeah, that's the other name we
Oh,
go by.
butterscotch?
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that's the name that you see on Twitter more often. D Moon and
Yeah.
Butterscotch are the same person.
Yeah, I've hired butterscotch before for a few stuff. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
that's amazing.
But yeah, so here we have the new Epic Yumiko skin coming in less than a week. Inari Yumiko. Really adorable. I love it.
So good. I can't
Yumiko's
wait for the skin to drop.
Insane.
Yumiko is such a cool character, just in general. She's very much steeped in Japanese folklore as a kitsune, and Inari, like Inari, 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 that is a real thing in like Japanese folklore. It refers to, I think, very generalizing, a huge generalization here, but some kind of fox spirit or something. Like a powerful deity that manifests as a fox sometimes. So this is like a more powerful version of Yumiko, which I like a lot. But anyway,
The lighting on it is beautiful.
Everything is. I'm just blown away whenever I see art, dude. It's
yeah,
so
she's
crazy.
Here we have Inara Yumiko in probably in like Twilight Grove or something, clearly under some trees and stuff, just kind of like admiring a cute little bird of some kind. I love it. I love that people depict Yumiko as both gentle and vicious. Sometimes, usually more on the gentle and cute side, but there's a reason Yumiko does not like wolves. She's fought wave after wave after wave of wolves for years upon years from the Feywild, and so yeah, she doesn't mess around when her home is being threatened.
Fan.
But yeah. Anyway, moving on, we have this lovely gem from Double Dock. Double Dock he's known as the Jaehyun cosplayer at BCX, and yeah, I think I'm trying to remember what the context of this was. But this is some kind of backpack, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a cute little fan bag.
It was
designed
inspired
after
from
Disney.
something.
So that mouth is like a window into the backpack, basically. I think was the idea. I think there are some pet backpacks and stuff where there's like a window for the cat or dog to look through, and you have them on your back.
Yeah, it's based off of a Miku Hatsune backpack. So
Oh, that's
we wanted to
right.
do, like,
Okay.
legend-based clothing items.
Yep.
You could put Xander in there. Isn't that?
You could put.
Or is that Azalt's cat? Sorry.
That's
Oh, no,
Hazel's.
Dander.
Xander.
Yeah,
Oh,
Xander.
I'm fake, dude.
No, no, you're not fake. It's fine.
Leave the Lord of Baron.
My bad.
Unless you want a lore master title or something. But anyway, Double Dock in general is just like he's done stuff that's not Jaehyun as well, but I love that he's made that sort of like his brand. He has this really cute really fun graphic style and stuff. So this is fantastic. I love it. I hope to see more merch. More Brawlhalla merch over. When's the Eternal Sports merch coming? That's what I'm.
Oh yeah, for real.
Thea, like the stuff that Thea has.
Oh yeah.
Eternal
It's the
Sports.
Avatar and
Feels like a fever dream. They just like randomly reference it all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, the next one by Expected Totally. This is So I happen to be aware. So Double Duck has an artist server, and sometimes he does contests. And one of the contests that he's one of the art like competitions he's doing now is like dress a legend in another legend's garb. So this is like Jiro in like Raven garb from Lucian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raven Rogue Lucian.
Man, and Jiro is not specifically associated with ravens in the lore, but it fits very well, I think, because the whole
I want this as a skin.
Like, yeah.
I need this as a skin. In
Honestly, yeah, because I mean the idea of shadows works very well with ravens and crows.
I like the eye pads on the the eyes on the knees there, and they also.
Oh yeah, the knee pad things, yeah.
The cloak at the top of the shoulder still has the raven in it, like the original Lucian.
There's a bit of an eye on the scythe as well. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I didn't even notice the shoulder raven.
Yep.
Yep. Shoulder raven.
Shoulder raven. My bad.
You know, there's a Yumiko skin that has a shoulder fox, as well. I think it's
Arctic Yumiko.
Arctic Yumiko, yeah, and I think
crazy.
The name of that fox is Aurora. Aurora, I think. Anyway, but yeah, really, really epic. I love epic Brawlhalla art. Love to see it. Okay, Fakwali, another fantastic artist with another fantastic Inari Yumiko fan art. Like the effects, the powdery, like magical effects and everything, is so good. Fakwali specializes in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she loves the sparkles.
Yeah, like
does a great job.
The like rainbow. I don't even know how to describe it. Like the on her forehead, like the rainbow gleam stuff.
Oh
is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I'm terrible at describing things.
The little rainbow flares or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, probably coming from that pearl on the side of her head. I like to think, or maybe just her face in general. I don't know, but yeah, really good.
Very pretty.
The quality is amazing.
That's insane.
All right, so this is from Gianni, a skin concept. It looks like for Mako, I believe.
Yes. So this mod concept comes from the actual original art that they had for Mako's original concept design.
Oh, this was one of the early Mako concepts.
Yeah. So
cool.
One of the early Mako concepts. Gianni is an admin in my server. He decided to actually try to make a mod concept based off of how they originally thought they were going to make Mako.
That's really cool.
I like how the gills are like on their face and on their throat. It's like they took two sharks and kind of put them together.
Yeah, there's two tail fins, oddly enough. But
it's like double dicker.
It looks cool. The hook barb sword looks really cool. I like that there's like those scratches as well. You see similar scratches, I think, on Sydra's face as well, but also because of damage from boats, you see that on some sea creatures. But also on fantastic, also on which is sad, but also on fantastical sea creatures that have seen battle. So, but yeah. This is really cool. It's really clean concept. I love it. We're about halfway through our artist showcase now. Takona. What can we not say about Takona? What can we say about Takona that has been said before?
The goat.
Another beautiful piece. I like that the background is slightly more like watercolor, like abstracted, but the front is very, very clean. Like focusing, like it's like what you do in movies where like you blur the background but keep a clear focus on the center of attention, which definitely happened here.
And the background's great too. I like the attention to detail, just like because it's kind of like the skin and Yumiko is obviously based off of Japanese folklore. You can see like the faded out torii gate in the background.
Yep.
Just looks like a snow-covered Japanese shrine pad.
Yeah.
I really love this work.
Also I got a tail as well, the fire tail. Anyway, go ahead.
I got a crazy thing to say. Takona is Valhallan in art.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
He's definitely Valhallan rank art. I mean, not the only Valhallan rank artist, I don't think, but he is up there. He's among. I think definitely he is among the top. Yeah.
That's my only comment. I'll keep it at
that. All right. Edwardson does amazing pixel art. Like I've done some pixel art myself. I've been teaching myself pixel art very slowly. what Rick Edwardson does is just next level. So this
amazing.
is for the new Brawlhalla Magyar skin. So I guess the concept looks like it's just like the mask and a pile of leaves and branches before it animates or something.
Before he grows into the armor.
Before he
I like
grows.
the background.
The background is really good.
The green peak, like that's so sick.
Yeah, very evocative and very like pretty.
How long this takes for every single pixel.
There's a lot of detail in this.
So I've never done something this intricate, but I've done some pixel art before, and I've been watching some pixel artists on YouTube with their process. They're doing pixel art like usually what a lot of people do is like do broad brush strokes and then get more then like more and more details you go along, which is like normal art, right? You have like general sketches or like general splotches of color. Like, okay, I'm gonna put a tree here, put the mask here, blah blah blah, and you just like keep refining it more and more. Oh, I'm gonna put a little patch of flowers here. I'll put a waterfall down here. Tweak the lighting, and all that kind of stuff. But it's a fascinating process for pixel art in particular. So, fantastic job from Rick Edwardson. Edwardson here. Shiro Plant. I like this take on Inari Yumiko. Almost like anime protagonist, antagonist kind of a thing. There's a little bit of that style coming through, I think.
Showing the viciousness that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like more
like the fox.
The fox in the background. She's got like yeah, she's like juggling these souls or these fire things between her hands. It's a really fun design too. That the artists have just like taken off with. So.
In the last podcast, I even claimed too that Yumiko is like the most drawn Brawlhalla legend, and this new skin release has not helped my statement.
It is like more. I don't know if that's statistically or empirically true, but I would not be surprised if it was.
I would bet my bottom dollar on it.
I think I've seen definitely a lot of Yumiko, a lot of Petra, a lot of Ember.
Yumiko, Petra, Ember. There's been a rise in Scarlet recently, just in general. Also, can we talk about Sunsero for a second here?
Yeah.
Everything he does is just insane.
Yeah, so he is the epitome, I think, of like epic art, right? Like epic splash art. Like if there was more detail in the background and stuff, this is akin to like League of Legends like splash art basically. This is he's extremely good at just like really cool poses, and like he also does like, so a lot of Brawlhalla fan art tends to be bright and very colorful, which makes sense.
Yes.
But Sunsero, one of his unique trademarks in his art is muted colors, but still incredibly dynamic, even with that. There's not a lot of color range. It's like a lot of it's like mostly dark tones.
Yeah. All of his work is just encapsulates the character perfectly in his style, like his Reino and his Magyar, even now the Yumiko.
I'm pretty sure he's done at least one art of every single Brawlhalla character. He might have missed one or two or something, but
I love all of them.
It's his artist pages are just a treat to go through.
His pieces always feel like an older realistic photo, like if you were to like capture the legend in real life.
Yeah,
Yumiko looks scary.
Yeah,
like legitimately.
With the perspective here, I always have like epic music in my head when I look at Sunsero pieces. So it's just I know he's drawn a couple of cute things as well, more for fun, to be funny. So he has a little bit of range as well in terms of his style, but Sunset Arrow is fantastic. Sometimes I wish he did. Sometimes I wish he was able to do art more often. He's like us. He has a job and whatever. But it's the kind of like quality over quantity kind of a thing. Like when he makes stuff, it's really good. So
yeah. When he starts, he gets it done. I always love to see it.
Yeah, some of the stuff he made for previous battle passes as well, like the one for the Diana Mordex season 4 one.
Oh yeah,
so good. That was perfect for him. All right, we just have a couple more here. So yogurt cards. This looks like it's another sort of like the concept here, Caspian concept, I believe. Yeah, Ink Shadow Caspian. Oh wait, Ink Shadow, isn't that a League of Legends skin line?
That's their newest thing they just dropped.
That's right. Yeah.
I really liked this one a lot when I found it on Twitter.
Yeah, this is really cool. Go ahead.
I like anything that kind of messes around with because particles are such a hard thing to figure out, and I think Brawl has a really good grasp on how particle effects should be used. So I'd love to see more skins with glitch effects or ink shadow effects, really anything.
Yep. Yeah, like with Shinsekai Koji.
That's a really good one. Some of the more recent epic skins, from epic battle passes and stuff.
Bryn.
The Bryn, the Volkov, the Orion. Yeah, really good. This is a very fun concept as well. And I like it when I've seen other mashups of League of Legends concepts with Brawlhalla, and it's just really cool. But yeah, I also like this the more realistic proportions that they propose up here as well, up in the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, glitching eye creates a the hair trail thing. The outfit is really cool. But yeah, last one we have this one.
Let's go.
What?
Let's go.
Date Night Dusk, I believe. Yeah, so not only is Date Night Dusk just a really cool skin concept already, and it definitely has been drawn by several times, including by another fellow Brawlhalla partner, Jade. Jade really likes Dusk. But the lighting, the pose,
that is crazy.
This is incredibly captivating. This just this really draws you in.
This has been one of my favorite pieces to see this week so far, just because
honestly,
Date Night Dusk is
this whole month. This whole month, this is one of the more impressive ones I've seen. And there's a lot of impressive ones, but
just the lighting, it feels like you're there, dude. You're
it's like you're on a date with somebody, and you're enraptured.
Drink at the bar.
Everything, the rest of the world just drops out, and the only thing is you and him.
I get nervous. I'd leave.
And he just stares into your soul and everything.
I'd buy him a drink. Home team is the color I always run this skin in, and I've never seen anybody do art of Date Night Dusk in this specific color.
In the home team colors,
so I was scrolling and just saw it, and I was like, finally now seen somebody draw art of the name that I use in the way that I use it.
Yeah, home team colors is just one of the best colors in general. Universally loved, and so
that dark maroon and gold.
The dark maroon and gold and blue.
I love home team. I love home team and gala.
Yeah, those
top tier colors.
So towards the end of the year, September, October, November, just in a row, you have home team, Halloween, gala.
It's blessing after blessing. They're so
literally autumn season's the best.
The autumn season, yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's the end of our artist showcase, and that we wanted to. You can very easily just kind of use the hashtag Brawlhalla art, or just or hashtag Brawlhalla or whatever, and just find a lot of things there. But we like to give a special shout out to things that have caught our attention, and we honestly could talk for hours about lots of other things, because there are the fan art scene in Brawlhalla is enormous. I
have so much more that I.
We got to
keep it short.
Yeah, this is a drop of we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11. So about 10 to 12 that we do for these artist showcases. But there you go, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we should wrap this up here. It's been about an hour and a half. Is there anything Vondakay, any last sort of like things you want to talk about, questions you wanted to? Actually, I think you mentioned before we recorded that you had some questions for us. Or is there anything you wanted to talk about there?
We covered like everything very, very well. I
Hmm.
think the only main question I had, we got through like how you guys got in here, but I
Sure.
was just like on a happy note, like what keeps you excited to keep coming back and like putting on
Hmm.
a happy face.
Yeah, let's
See
let's end
everyone.
on let's end on that note. Let's each talk about like what keeps us coming back and what are we grateful for in the with the
What
Brawlhalla
are we
scene and
grateful for?
everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Then we'll have Supreme, and then we'll end with Vondakay. Um, yeah, I say time and time again that I mean for me it's twofold. Number one is of course my involvement as a Brawlhalla partner and like just being able to the opportunities that I've had. I never thought that I would be a recognized content creator. Um, as like this older, getting to be middle aged man, playing playing games for fun and stuff like that. I never all the stuff I did with lore. I never expected. I was never trying to like get that big, but you catch someone's attention that leads to other opportunities, and the networking happens there, and so that definitely keeps me. There are many reasons for me to be engaged, and I have ideas that to and everything that I share with the community and content and stuff. But of course, just the fact that I've seen people being grateful for me being in the community, the fact that seeing the appreciation that people have for me in the community keeps me in. Honestly, um, yeah, of course I could stay for as long as I wanted, but if people didn't want me in there, they will let you know, and I have always felt very welcome in this community. Um, and yeah, and I also I'll conclude by the thought by say, my thought by saying that um, I want to try to make be a positive influence and make a difference, and um, so I do what I do because I want to try to bring smiles to other people's faces, and that keeps me in because I know that I still have more opportunities to do that. So, Supreme.
Um, yeah, that's pretty for the main two things it boils down for me is just the community has always given me love and they never really had to. And because they did
Yeah.
that, I just give love back to them. It's always been out of respect. The second reason is really my Discord server, which a lot of them are part of the community, but most of us from where we started, we none of us really went on Twitter or anything or really engaged much with people from Twitter who were like really heavily in the community until I kind of started having fun and seeing the little different circles and meeting people there. But my server is honestly the thing that kept me going. All the members there and the people that I've known for a long time just keep me engaged, keep me having fun, and makes me want to provide fun things and fun content for people to see, whether it be on Twitter or in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So wholesome. Okay.
And now Vondakay.
Yeah. Uh, Definitely what's kept me going and for sure what I'm most grateful for is just how much I've learned. I started out believing I knew everything, and I've just been humbled over and over and over again and met so many great people who've been able to teach me so much about the game and uh, just life. I really appreciate that in such a small little section of gaming and online stuff. I've learned so much from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown to appreciate just like online. I used to just not appreciate little things like this, like even like a podcast, and now I see that there's people here and they care and it's fun and it's truly like I don't know. I'm a very appreciative for everything I've learned, and it helps me, I think, become a better person and hopefully a better role model in the end.
Yeah.
That's
Is what
admirable.
definitely.
Yeah. I definitely
I
agree
have to
with all of that.
meet your guys' wholesome levels. But like honestly, honestly, I would not have kept going if it wasn't for the fact that the more I persist, the more I do, the greater impact I feel like I may have.
Mm-hmm.
In case someone else is sitting at a lunch table watching Star Wars, hunched over, hating the world, maybe if they find a little bit of Brawlhalla light in their life and they can
Yep.
share it, it becomes better. So that's what
Indeed.
definitely keeps me back. Is just hearing the little impacts here and there.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, yeah. we'll wrap this up now. Thank you, Supreme, for being here, and also especially thank you, Vondakay, for being here. It's been an immense pleasure to have you here, and also thank all of you who watched and listened to this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned some things along with all of us old guys learning new things.
Super old.
Yeah, super old. Working in a library, I can't say old because I'm actually relatively young where I work. So, but in the gaming space, we're older. So yeah,
it's wild.
So, yeah.
Can you repeat that? I'm hard of hearing.
Yeah.
I'm actually hard of hearing slightly. So anyway, but yeah, thank you all very much. It's been a great pleasure, and we'll see you next time. All the best.
Bye bye.
Bye.